The next thing is fornication. Fornication is another Western philosophy that nobody seems to have the understanding of. Because when you go to porneia in the Greek, what porneia means in Greek, in the ancient world, is totally different from what fornication means in the English culture. Because what is fornication in the English culture? What do Christianity and Hebrews teach about fornication? Are you
Um,
familiar with the teachings?
yes, man. I think we are. It's quite popular overall. So I think it's just you having the lust to have sex intercourse with another woman. That's it.
When a Christian has intimacy with a person that they're not married to, like this, what do they call it? Oh, they call it sex out of wedlock. What do they call sex out of wedlock? What is the universal word?
Adultery.
No, fornication.
Well, no. Well, if everyone have it. All right. Let me explain what's the whole concept out there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, two-person
Oh,
out
can you
there.
speak up a little bit? I don't know what's happening with try to speak up, let me see.
Yeah. All right. So two-person not committed, having a really two-person sorry not committed is defined as a fornication. A person that is married and having sex outside is fornication.
Oh, Romain, hold on, Romain, move away from the fan. Yeah, tongue silent intellect. Turn away the fan.
No, actually,
Yeah, go on again now.
all right. I'm just saying the definition is two-person that is not committed is also called fornication. A person that is outside, that is married, and also going outside of that marriage is what they also define as fornication as well. So that's the two definition that they have as fornication.
Okay, but you're familiar when they say sex out of wedlock is fornication. You're familiar with that Christian doctrine, right?
Right.
Right. So this is what I'm saying. That concept is only in modern Christianity because there's nowhere in the Bible that tells you that if a random man meets a random woman for the first time and lie with each other, there's nowhere in the Bible tells you that that is fornication. Right? I'm going to read Deuteronomy chapter 22 and I'm going to start at 23 because this is what they use to destroy our minds. So they condemn people through ignorance. Oh, you're living in sin. Listen to this. Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 23. It says, if a damsel that is a virgin, no, hold on. I want the verse. Okay, 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife. Right? Because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days. So the Bible is telling you that right now, if you come offline and you walk out in the street and you meet an unmarried woman, and you spit your game, you convince her and take her to bed, the scripture is telling you that you cannot even divorce that woman. So where in that would they get fornication? You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes,
Right.
but
So
you're also looking at it from Hebrews perspective. From a Christian perspective,
they
they are
use the
not
Bible.
Hebrews. So
Even the
it's just the New Testament. So the Old Testament is passed away with. So that's why I'm just giving you the two definition of it, or the two action that
yes.
defines the word itself.
Right. So what I'm saying is with that Christian New Testament concept, what they do is it's their Christianity that makes void the law, Not because the law is done away with, but their doctrines is overriding the law. Because if they say no, the Bible says that if you find a woman, if you have a random hookup with a woman, you have to continue the marriage with her. You have to pursue, right? The law is telling you that, but they're coming and say that if you do that, it's fornication.
Right, yes.
Yes, but what I'm saying is when you go to the New Testament and you look for porneia, porneia does not have anything to do with you lying with a woman that you're not married to. So even the New Testament itself does not say what Christianity is saying, but modern Christianity say. The New Testament does not say that, because when you get into porneia, right? I'm using the Greek word for a specific purpose, because once people hear the word fornication, they keep adapting, holding the belief that attaches to it. Porneia is, back in the ancient Greek culture, back in the culture, right? You had what they call temple prostitutes. With the temple prostitutes, these are high-end pros, not the common thing that you go at the back roads to find. These are people who are highly esteemed by the gods. So what they used to do is in the temple, it was part of their rituals. And I'm going to show you how part of this comes into Christianity today, but they call it by a different name. What happened is that these prostitutes would serve as something towards the gods. So this is where porneia comes in, because now you lie with this woman, and this is what Paul was teaching them, that no, you cannot do what these people do. You cannot lie with her, because you're going to become one flesh. According to our law, once you lie with the woman, you become one flesh. So this is what they couldn't. It's just like today with men in the streets. Oh, I just want to one night with her, but another man had a one night with her last night. So you cannot do that, brother, because once you lie with her, you become one flesh with this woman. Then tomorrow night she's gonna lie with another man. Know that you're gonna cut off that one flesh thing, and you're gonna carry on the same prostitute behavior. So this is why they couldn't understand that. You cannot go to the temples and lie with these women. So this was what they were doing. When you read in the Old Testament, where it used to say they go on the mountains and they make their rituals to the sun and the moon. Porneia is what they call fornication, is when you have sex in honor of the gods. So guess what? You can take your wife, your legitimate wife that you're married to, right? But if you go out there and you have sex with her in honor of the moon, it's still the same porneia. So are you understand what I'm saying?
It's the mind concept relating to the devotion of a god.
In honor, exactly. So it doesn't matter if the person is your legitimate wife or not. Once you're performing the ritual in honor of the moon or the sun, this is why they always go. What in the Old Testament? What do they always complain about? What they go up to the mountains to do. So we would go to the mountains to perform ritual to the sun and the moon, right? Some of the other nations, they build pyramids. If you notice the pyramids, they have steps. They go up. Behold the moon goddess. Behold the sun god. And they perform their ritual. This is why most rituals always end in what? Orgy. Because that's the last part of the service. You do the blood aspect of it. You did the binding, the intoxications with the drinking and the herbs. And then after that, everybody just get into it with each other. So orgy has always been part of the sacrifices for the other gods. And that's what Israel were always doing with the other nations. This is what he means when he says you commit whoredom with the Egyptians, you commit whoredom with the Moabites. We have sex in honor of their gods. Now let me bring this into modern churches today.
All right, hold on. You just mentioned whoredom. So what would be the difference between the whoredom and the term fornication then?
Okay, let me give you an example. When you're going to do this, just like I said, if you do this with the woman, right? And another man come and do the same thing with the woman, that is going to be whoredom. Right? That's whoredom in itself.
All right.
But yes, but in terms of when you're performing when you're performing the same thing in honor of the gods, as a ritual service to the gods, that is when it becomes spiritual now. So I'm gonna put it, so when they serve other gods, that's cheating. Yeah, because if I'm gonna partake in a Roman festival today, and part of it requires an orgy. If I have a wife, I'm naturally committing adultery against my wife. But also I'm going into a spiritual aspect of it as well. So we have to be mindful of the spiritual and the physical. There's a spiritual part to it, like, okay, in the churches, in the religious institutions, right? You have what you call today hosts. 1 second, James. I'm gonna come to your question. Give me a second, James. You have what you call host. So a spirit of the water can inhabit a woman in the church, right? She is a vessel, but there's another spirit that is there that's using her as a host. So the priest of the church or whoever lies with that woman, it's pledging the allegiance to the creature of the water. So fornication, porneia, is way more powerful than how they make it seem that, oh, you're having sex out of wedlock. No. A lot of these men on the pulpits, the woman that you see sitting in the chair next to them over there, that's not just a normal woman. That woman is a host, a vessel. So each time he lays with her, he's pledging his allegiance to the creatures of the water. And from the creatures of the water, a lot of them get their powers. If you listen to a lot of pastors who talk about these things, they'll tell you that that's how they gain their powers. Through the creatures of the water. So it has to go through fornication or some form of immorality. Because that's how these other gods are worshipped. Because they see to be worshipped. It's not like with the Most High, you have to go through purity and consecration. With them, it's desecration. Just like today now, you hear a lot of people say, oh, Jezebel spirits are coming in the church. It's not just the woman and her behavior. There is a literal spirit that is attaching themselves to these women. And this is why you see a lot of pastors or priests. What happens as soon as they lie with these women, their ministry start coming to an end. Their prayer life start coming to an end. The churches start going to, a lot of things start happening. They're destroying their families. A lot of things start happening. They don't teach this, but it's the reality. They don't teach the spiritual aspect of these things. A lot of people you are seeing, they are just hosts for creatures. Fornication is not just, porneia is not just a random person lying with a random person. That's a legitimate marriage. If you meet a woman, you guys come to an agreement and you go with each other, that's legitimate. But when there's a spirit involved, when it's in honor of the other gods, creatures of the water, creatures of the air, creatures of wherever, that's porneia. So this is what I'm saying. What was mentioned in the New Testament about porneia, that came to an end, and the English culture took on a new meaning because they never had porneia in their culture. The English never had porneia, so they had to make it fit their societal idea or concept. But in the Greeks, they had porneia where you had literal temple prostitutes. So they could not translate that concept because it never existed. Are you understand the difference with the culture, what I'm showing you with cultures?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yes, so you'll never hear a person who teaches the English aspect of fornication teaching about these things, because temple, just like in Jamaica, do we have temple prostitute? No, we don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the concept of porneia will not make sense. This is why they use fornication, because they can put a whole new meaning on fornication. So the definition in the Bible is not scriptural, but cultural. Porneia is the real definition or the real idea of what happened. Temple prostitutes were valuable people. Matter of fact, they were one of the most valuable set of people back in the Greek culture. This is why all their things always end in orgy. And even today, with what they call Satanism. Do you know anything about Satanism? Like when they're summoning Satan? After they do their sacrifices, their rituals, right? After they do all of that, and Satan present himself there. Because Satan is not, what you call it, omnipresent like the Most High. He can only be one place at one time. So you'll see that they'll have an appointment here, and he performs his ritual and everything, and he has to leave to go to another society over there. He's not omnipresent. He doesn't be all different places at the same time. But at the end of the ritual, it all ends in what? Orgy. Orgy. It's always the same.